Good afternoon, everybody. Um, Obviously had a chance to visit after the game on Saturday, and certainly disappointed with the outcome. There were times where I really felt like our defense put up a great stand against Troy. Um, what a, what a what an outstanding football team they got. They're really good on defense, obviously, and their running back exceptional. They just did a really nice job against us. And as we were holding them to field goals, unfortunately, offensively, we just weren't able to move the football and get it in scoring position. We did one time and turned it over. And then we had a fourth down there late and couldn't convert a 4th and 1, which we've typically been pretty good at. And when we can't do those things, it's usually tough sledding. Didn't hit any big plays against them. They hit some big plays against us, which set them up for some scores. I think our longest play was the rugby scrum at the beginning of the third quarter, which is a great effort by our team. Certainly, Kanye carrying the football, but everybody else just continuing to play. And I mean, there's positives in everything. That certainly was that effort and that fight that our guys showed there. But we've got to find an identity on offense, and we got to score more points. And we didn't do a very good job of that on Saturday. So we played a really good second half against Boston College. And we were hopeful that we could come out and kind of put two halves together. And we put two halves of very pedestrian-like offense together, unfortunately. So we got to improve in every phase, and we got to tackle better on defense. That's something we continue to strive to do. And get teams off the field. And just because we're stalling on offense a little bit doesn't make it a rule that the other team's got to hit a big play and score on offense themselves. We got to try to stop them. So play a team game, and we're going to have a huge test this week. Obviously, playing LSU, they are incredibly talented, very well coached. I read where Coach Kelly, I think, is going for his 300th career victory. And he's just had an incredible career. I've known him a long time, since he was the head coach at Grand Valley State, and he's won everywhere he's been, and certainly doing a great job with the LSU program. They've I mean, I don't know where you start when you talk about personnel with them. You could go through their starting 22 and every guy that trots off the bench. They're specialists. The guys that play special teams, they are tremendously talented, and it will take a monumental effort for us to challenge these guys and have an opportunity to be in the football game. So obviously our guys are excited. It's a great opportunity for us to play a blue blood, one of the great programs in college football history, and certainly one of the best football teams in college football right now. And our guys are excited about the opportunity and the challenge that it presents. So we're going to do our very best to get them ready today and tomorrow and throughout the week, and go down there and play in front of what we know is going to be an incredible crowd and a tremendous atmosphere, and it'll be exciting for our players. Since they've started to play football, and I think this is the case for every guy, for LSU's guys, for our guys, for everybody that plays college football, certainly at this level. I think that's one of the exciting things about playing at this level is to play in stadiums like this against teams like this, and so we're looking forward to it. But no, it's going to be a tremendous challenge for us.
Rich, starts off, Jeff, as a national program, Army football is. How important is it, not just for your players, but from a program standpoint, to be playing teams like LSU, national programs, and continue that legacy?
Well, we've played a lot of these types of teams during my tenure here, and I know over the course of Army's football history, there's teams that the schedule and the records are littered with programs like this, and I think it's one of the special things about this program. And I think one of the reasons that many of our players come to school here, they do have opportunities to play a lot of these games, and we've got players on our team that have played at Wisconsin, and I think we've got some seniors that were even around for the Michigan game. I know there are some they're here for that. But again, these types of programs, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Penn State, those are all teams that we've played, Notre Dame, since I've been here. And these are the programs that are year in and year out at the very top of college football. And so it's exciting for these guys. They're looking forward to having the opportunity to play a great team like LSU.
And Jeff, for the alumni and the fans, to be able to experience something like this, what does that mean to you?
So the alumni and fans, I know, get excited for games like this. It's an opportunity for them to see their team play against one of the great teams in college football, and so it's just all part of it. Just the excitement that comes with being able to match up in Death Valley against the LSU Tigers, and the great history of that program, and the just the respect that everybody around the college football world has for them right now. So I know our fans are excited, and as a coach, it's awesome to have that challenge as a coach, and for our staff to prepare a team like Army against a team that we know physically and athletically is really no offense to our guys, but superior in terms of their size and their talent and their ability. And but that's one of the great things. It's a challenge for us as coaches as well. And I'm excited about our players and our team. They're tough guys and they play hard. And I know that we'll give a great effort down there. And we've had other games against blue blood teams like that where we've played very well. And I think it's just the nature of these guys at Army, that they rise to the challenge, and hopefully they'll rise to the challenge this week.
Connor, start us up on Zoom.
Okay, Charles, you can start.
Good afternoon, Coach. Charles Grievous here with GoBlackKnights.com. Excuse me. Coach, although everything in Coach Kelly's offense will roll through quarterback Jaden Daniels, he's been preaching a bounce attack for the last several weeks, and I believe their offense is the only offense in the country that's in the top 10 in both rushing and passing. Proverbial question is, what must you do to slow down the Tigers' offense?
Well, I read that same thing. I think Oregon is the one other team that is in that category, which that's incredibly impressive that they're in the top 10 nationally in both categories. I don't know what you do. Do you take away the pass? They run it as good as anybody in the country. You take away the run, they throw as good as anybody in the country. They've got a record-setting quarterback, a record-setting receiver. They're enormous on the offensive line. Just talented is an understatement. What we've got to do is play sound defense, try to play very well fundamentally, playing blocks, keeping leverage on the football, running really hard to the ball, getting as many guys around it as possible, and trying to make things happen through our system. And everybody's got a defensive scheme and an offensive scheme, and it's very difficult to just say, hey, we're going to draw this up for this week against an opponent that we know is very talented and has a high-powered offense. We're going to have to play our scheme and play it very well. And as I said, they not only are very talented, but they're well coached, and they've been extremely efficient on offense, and it's going to make it a real challenge for us.
And on the other side of the equation, some folks will say that the Achilles heel, if there is such a thing, for the Tigers this season has been their defense, although they came up real big against Auburn last week. I think they switched to a four-man front, 3 linebackers. Is there anything that you anticipate that they'll do differently facing your offense on Saturday, or anything that you need to do differently when it comes to facing their defense?
Well, we've got to block better than we have, and we've got to take care of the ball better than we have. And frankly, we got to be able to run the football. that's where the game is won, in my opinion, to run the ball and stop the run. And I say that every week. But obviously they make that difficult. They are when people talk about an Achilles heel for a team, when we're going to LSU to play at LSU against their defense, what's their Achilles heel against us? I mean, they're enormous, they're fast, they're violent, they're skilled, they're well coached. I mean, this is as talented a team as we've ever faced since I've been here as the coach. And so they don't have an Achilles heel. Now, when it comes to us, they've got players, and they've got a great scheme, and they've got size and athleticism, and it's just going to take a tremendous effort on the part of our team, great execution of the fundamentals, taking care of the ball, and our guys playing really, really well, and that would hopefully give us a chance to be in the game and have a chance to at least compete and be around. Be around in the fourth quarter.
And my follow-up and final question is, can you provide the latest on Bryson Daly and Isaiah Austin's availability on Saturday?
We don't know on either one of them yet. Isaiah's, obviously been out for a couple of weeks, and he's doing more and more with our training staff, and I'm hopeful on his return. And Bryson, he seems to be doing much better than we anticipated. We'll see when he shows up today. He's been getting treatment. He was here for practice on Sunday. Came in for treatments all day yesterday on our day off. And so we'll get a look at him before practice today and see where he's at. But I'm hopeful he'll be ready. And but if not, then we'll prepare the other guys.
Thank you.
We'll go to Seth.
Good afternoon, Coach. Mentally, how do you get the team motivated for a game where, all the things you just said about LSU, and maybe they are already motivated, but how do you and the rest of the coaches get the team motivated playing such a team like LSU?
Well, I don't know, Seth. I mean, these guys in our locker room all came here because they wanted to play teams like this. They wanted to play in big games against big opponents like this, and so I think they're excited for the opportunity. The guys in this locker room are also young men who have made a commitment to serve their country, and frankly, many of them may at some point find themselves in harm's way, and they had got the courage to do that, to take on that job. So I think this place and the makeup of a West Point cadet probably lends itself to having guys who they want to be challenged and they want to be put in difficult situations. And so our guys know, our guys watch college football all the time. They're not stupid. They know how talented that team is and how big they are and how fast they are and all that. And they understand that they're going to have to execute at a really high level and play very well fundamentally if they're going to have a chance to win a one-on-one battle. And it's going to take winning a lot of one-on-one battles to have a good play, whether it's on defense or offense or special teams. And so, I mean, our guys aren't scared. They're college football players, and it's a tough opponent, a good opponent, but they're excited for the opportunity, and they should be.
My follow-up question, we saw Kanye last week come in, have a really good game. Is there anybody else, or you may not want to tell us, but do you expect to have somebody else who might step up this week who hasn't played that much?
Well, we'll see what happens with Bryson Daly. If he's not the starting quarterback and can't play, I hope that one of those other quarterbacks will step up, whether it's Champ or Dwayne or Larry or whoever it may be. I'm hopeful that those guys will step up. And we could, with Isaiah having been hurt, we've had to ask other guys to play and kind of take his place on offense as a receiver. So we've thrown the ball to other guys, and they've had to get blocks on the perimeter, and that's just the nature of the game, and it happens in every sport. There's got to be that mentality that when one guy goes down, the next person in the line steps up and performs and plays up to a starter's level.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Seth.
We'll go to Ken K.
Hey, Coach, good afternoon. Gosh, just looking at the stats on LSU on offense, or quarterback Jaden Daniels, as Charles was talking about, 152 completions, 2,300 yards, 22 touchdowns on 197 quarterback rating. When you see a quarterback like that, what does it say on defense? Is it pass rush? Is it coverage that you got to really emphasize?
Well, all of it. I mean, ask the teams they've played. There's a whole list of really good football teams with a lot of talented players that have played this guy already this year and certainly last year. You can ask them. I mean, do you pass rush? Do you coverage? Do you cover? Yes, all the above. You have to. You can throw pressure at this guy, and he's got arm talent and the feet to get out of trouble, to get the ball delivered to a guy in a zero blitz. You can rush 3 and drop everybody back there in 8. He'll find a way to put the ball in there. He's just really talented. He's a really good player. It's why they're in the top 10 in the country in rushing and passing. That almost never happens. And I'm shocked there's 2 teams in the country right now that are in that category, but he's super talented, and they're really good at everything they do.
Hey, looking at their defense, they've got a couple of players. Perkins, linebackers, got 3 sacks, and then also defensive tackle Makai Wingo has got 2.5 sacks. When you see players like that, does that put more emphasis on your offensive line, on their pass blocking?
We're going to have to do a great job of blocking in general, whether it's run blocking or pass blocking. I don't want to name names of guys on their team because I wouldn't want to offend any of the rest of them. I mean, they're all great players. These are SEC players playing at the very top level of college football. And certainly the 3 guys you mentioned are all tremendous players, but they got 8 others that trot out there as starters that are really good at their positions as well. And a whole football team full of incredibly talented guys, a bunch of guys that are going to play in the NFL. And, that's different, Ken. I mean, we got guys from the state of Louisiana on our team. Not one of them got offered a scholarship by LSU. And they probably have played a game on Saturday night. And I doubt if Coach Kelly's going to walk across the field and say, hey, I'd like to trade you. I'll take that guy you got on your team for one of mine. They got a bunch of great players. That's no offense to our guys. I love our players. They play their butts off. They're tough, and they play every snap as hard as they can play it. And we got some talented guys that execute very well, and not all the time. Obviously, we're where we're at as a football team right now in our record. The proof's not in the pudding there. We haven't won as many football games as I would have liked, and perhaps as we probably could have if we were playing better. But I love our players. But the team that we're playing, the players we're playing at LSU, like I said, I don't want to name names because I don't want to get back to those players that, well, this coach talked about this player and not about me. I'm a good player too, and I'm going to show that coach how good I am. Let a sleeping dog lie, as they say. They're all good.
Hey, just a final thought. I saw this morning that Nolan Cockrell, one of your former players, completed his Ranger program. What does it mean for you when you see some of your former players advance in their Army careers?
That's one of the great thrills of coaching here, is having an opportunity to see those guys excel in their careers beyond West Point, whether it's in the Army or even in their next career after that. But we often get the pictures of those guys, and they're incredibly proud when they get that Ranger tab. That's a big deal, as you know, and those that know our program and know this school and have ties to the Army, to get a Ranger tab is a huge moment in a soldier's life, and I'm really, really proud of those guys when they do. The sense of pride that they have in earning that tab is really special. So Nolan was what a terrific player. He's one of the toughest guys we've coached since we've been here. Made a big difference for our team, helped us win a lot of football games, and now he's on other fields, doing other jobs, and I know he's going to help the U.S. Army win out there.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Ken.
We'll go to Ken M.
Hey, Jeff, Ken McMillan. You've told us even in the recent losses to Syracuse and BC that your team made some progress. So how significant a setback was the progress from the Troy game?
It was disappointing. It's disappointing we couldn't get any points on the board. Disappointing we couldn't find a way to win the football game. As I said, we had the drive, got down there, and we fumbled the ball and just really couldn't get anything going consistently. I was encouraged by our defense, though we gave up some big plays. We held them to field goals for most of the day. The big play before halftime was that was disappointing. It was a blown coverage, and that those are the kinds of mistakes that we can't afford to make. We can't recover from those. Maybe like teams that are more talented and have more firepower than we do. And right now, obviously, we haven't shown we got much firepower on offense. And I assure you, our guys are practicing hard and they're playing hard. The execution has got to be there. And so, I know it didn't help having a quarterback that comes in off the bench and has to play 50 snaps and really his first time in college football. I think anybody will tell you that having an established quarterback and having a guy is an important part of success for a football team. And I think Champ is super talented. I think he's going to have a great career here. But again, he stepped off the bench and had to take that snap when Bryson went down and played the rest of the game. And so that's not easy to do either. But it didn't have everything to do with that. We got to block them better and sustain blocks and run the ball more effectively and a lot of things. But it was discouraging to not have any points on the board. Certainly not win the football game. But tells you we got some progress to make. We got a long way to go, and we're going to keep working to get there.
Jeff, you're facing an offensive line that's very potent and with LSU and obviously a good rushing attack. Can you address about block destruction a little more? Because there seemed to be times in the last 2 weeks where that was kind of a struggle.
Yep, it is. Troy's got really good players. Troy went 12-2 last year. They're 5-2 now. They won 17 games in the last 2 years, and the season is halfway over. So they've got a very talented football team, and it's hard as a defensive player, to destroy a block. It's not easy to do. Guys get their hands on you, and there's a ball carrier behind him, and there's a quarterback behind him trying to throw the ball, or you got to get off the block and then get to the ball and make the tackle. That's a difficult skill. If you're physically superior, it makes it easier. If you're physically inferior, it makes it much more difficult. But even if it's apples and apples, where there's parity in the matchup, it's not easy to do. And so Troy's got good players. Boston College got good players. Syracuse has got good players. UTSA's got good players. I mean, the stretch of games that we've got here, 5-game stretch, 2 reigning conference champions, and 3 Power Fives. You know, and Ken, like I said, I love our players, and they play their butts off. And we beat UTSA, which is a great win for us. We had a chance to beat Boston College. We didn't, but we had a chance to beat Boston College. And we've had seasons here with same guys, not the same players, but the same kinds of guys, and taking Oklahoma to overtime and Michigan to double overtime. And, you know, we've had some wins over some Power 5 teams. We beat Missouri in a bowl game. We beat Wake Forest. We've beaten Duke. We've had some big wins here, but it's never because we're more talented. Our guys just have executed better on those particular days. They've destroyed blocks, or they've sustained blocks on offense, or whatever it may be, to get the job done. And so it's got to come through great effort, great fundamentals, and proper leverage. And when you face an opponent, or you're in a one-on-one matchup with somebody who physically is very, very talented, it becomes much more difficult, and the effort and fundamentals become much more critical.
And Jeff, to finish, a two-part quarterback question. How shocked were you to see Bryson limp off, especially after a non-contact play? And then second part, Champ's decision-making seemed to be pretty good when he was on the move, but did you think he was a little flat-footed at times?
Number one, you hate to see your quarterback get hurt. We didn't know what it was at the time. We got a better idea what it is now, and we're able to kind of pinpoint that and deal with it, which gives me encouragement. But we didn't know at the time, and we were hopeful that he'd be able to come back, and that wasn't the case on Saturday. I thought Champ handled it really well. I thought he did a really good job for a true freshman, taking his first significant snaps in his career. And you know, there's just, when you're a freshman quarterback and you're playing your first snaps, rarely do they come in and they're on ESPN highlights that night. They're doing the best they can to keep the game going, to kind of gain some confidence. And Champ's a really talented guy, and as I said, he's going to have a great career. That's not an ideal situation to be thrown into, and I thought he handled it as well as he could.
Thank you.
I think we're all set. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, have a good day.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hello.